Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com, and today we're going to be looking at a beautiful O-scale brass steam engine from Weaver Models, the Lackawanna 484 Pocono. Weaver first produced this model in 2011, and I'm filming this review in November of 2011, so it's still a pretty new model. Now this comes in both 2-rail and 3-rail versions. The one you're looking at here is the 3-rail version, and it comes with Lionel's TMCC command system, as well as a Rail Sounds 4. Now it should be noted that that is classic TMCC, not legacy, but you can control this with the legacy remote if you want to. That's what I'll be doing today. But you can also run this with the classic TMCC Cab 1 remote, or you can operate it conventionally. But as far as the features are concerned, it's classic TMCC and Rail Sounds 4. The overall length of this engine is right around 25 inches. It weighs in at 7 pounds 13 ounces and has about 14 ounces of pulling power. The minimum curve for 3-rail operation, as recommended by Weaver, is 0.72, and for 2-rail operation, you need to have at least a 36-inch radius on your curves. This engine is classified as a 484 locomotive. That means you've got 4 wheels up here on the front truck, 8 drive wheels, and 4 wheels on the trailing truck. All 8 drive wheels are sprung. You've got traction tires on the rear set of drivers for extra pulling power, and all of the drivers are powered by a large Pitman flywheel motor in the rear of the engine. Here's a look at the front of the engine, and as you can see, it's very nicely detailed. Some of the highlights are this really nice pilot down here. You've got really nice hose detail on either side of the coupler, a really nice scale dummy coupler, and it even has the linkage going up to the coupler cut bar, which is a nice touch. Up here you've got nice detail on the smoke box, an operating headlight, operating marker lights, and a little swinging bell. Here's a look at the running gear and drive rods and so forth, and as you can see, it's very nicely done. And when the engine is in operation, this looks really busy. On the side of the engine, we've got some very nicely done builder's plates, and they are all legible with a magnifying glass. Up on the top of the engine, we've got lots of nice reach rods and handrails and so forth. Here's our operating smoke unit, our whistle, sand domes, dynamos back here. Lots of nice detail up on top, and we've got safety tread on the walkways on the side. Here's a look at the cab. On either side, we've got a little window with a clear plastic insert, and there are also 2 other windows on the back side, which you'll see in a minute. We've got 2 nicely detailed crew figures inside the cab, separately applied grab irons, nice rivet detail, and an opening roof vent. Now let's take a look inside the cab. Here's a look inside the cab. It's very nicely detailed with lots of hand-painted valves and gauges and so forth. When the engine is turned on, there's a red glow in the firebox, and there's a soft yellow light that illuminates the cab. Here's a look at the underside of the engine. You've got 2 power pickup rollers, and then you've got a little Weaver builder's plate that tells you which number this engine was in the production run. In this case, this engine was number 22 of 97. The tender is also very nicely done. Just like the engine, it features all brass construction and a real coal load up top. The side frames on the trucks are very nicely done. You've got a coupler cut bar, a ladder, and separately applied grab irons on every corner. Up here, this hatch opens up to reveal the TMCC and engine controls. You've got operating marker lights and an operating reverse light. I'm going to show you a really neat feature of this tender, and it's not the first time that I've seen this on a Weaver steam engine. I've seen the same feature on the Milwaukee Road F6A from Weaver. If you look right here, you'll notice that the 3-rail coupler is tucked up way underneath the tender, so much so that you can barely see it. And at first you may think that's a mistake, but it's not. They do that so that the engine still looks very prototypical, even though it's a 3-rail engine. You know, on most 3-rail engines, the coupler would stick out to about right here, and it kind of takes away from some of the realism of the engine. But by tucking it under there, you keep that realism and it looks much more prototypical. And when you pull a car up to the tender and couple it on, because that coupler is tucked way up under the tender, it draws the car much closer to the tender, and this space between the tender and the car is much more prototypical. So by tucking that coupler under the tender, you get a 3-rail engine that is still very prototypical looking. Here's a look at the underside of the tender. You've got some added detail right here. The speaker for the sound is right there, and you've got a power pickup roller on each truck. Okay, so let's go ahead and power this engine up, and you can hear some of the sounds and see some of the features, and then we'll run it around the layout for a minute. Okay, here's the whistle. And the bell. And now let's move it out.
Engineer, you may proceed on track 1. Have a good day.
So that about wraps it up for this review. One final thing that I did want to mention is that you can always get an engine weatherized at the factory from Weaver. That means that they will airbrush weather the engine for you right at the factory to make it look old and used and dirty. It's a great service, and as far as I know, Weaver is the only train manufacturer that offers this service at the factory. For a steam engine like this, they charge $65. They'll airbrush it right there, and then when you get it on your doorstep and open it up, it'll be nice and used and worn, and it looks beautiful. They always do a great job with it, so consider the weatherization option. Now, if you're interested in buying one of these engines, they retail for just over $1,200, and you can get one from your local Weaver dealer or by contacting Weaver directly at www.weavermodels.com or by phone at 570-473-9434. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time.